theyeshiva.net.
Okay, so let's continue inside. Good morning, everybody. Vahatam. Yeah, the second column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there is the distinction that we made between the Avera, the Chet, and the Koyach HaMesava. And the question is how it was harnessed. It was harnessed into something that may be negative, toxic, and destructive, and immoral. But it can be reoriented. It can be harnessed in a new way. He says, the Koyach HaMesava itself, it's not inherently bad. No, it can be transformed. And that's why we say, V'ahavta b'chol levavcha b'shnei yitzarecha. V'hatam, and the reason is, Ki be'emes koyach ha'mesava mitzad atzmai, shorshay v'yisedose b'harei kodesh b'kedusha elyon. The truth is that the koyach ha'mesava on its own, it's rooted, this is what he says, it's rooted, it's shoirish, it's yisoidus, its foundation is b'harei kodesh, what means in the sacred mountains, b'kedusha elyon, in divine kedusha. Ela shebiyididus hamadreges v'nefilos b'shviras hakelim nimshach sheyeh koyach ha'mesava gam ledvar aveda. And yet, this energy that the koyach ha'mesava, the craving that is behind every sin, the koyach, the energy within the person that's directing you, the voices, the passions, the emotions, the innermost core, if you can trace back every action to that inner drive, what is the drive behind it? He says, essentially, it's rooted in Kedusha Elyon. It wants attachment with truth, with sacredness. However, there was a Yedidas HaMadregas, a descent of levels, on the Filosin B'Shviras HaKelim. B'Shviras HaKelim is the concept we spoke many times about, the breaking of the vessels, as a result of which energy can be distorted, gets broken, and all you see from it is a fragment of it, and you don't identify what it really is.
Is this what you identified as Tohu?
Yes, the Shviras HaKelim of the Olam HaToyo. So, Nimshach sheyeh koyach ha'mesava gam ledvar aveda. There's the ability that this very energy, this very drive, which at its core is Yisaidase B'harei Kodesh, can say, what do I want? I want a Dvar Aveda. I want something that seems very alien from Hashem, very alien from truth. It's a sin, it's a transgression. Ulazais, but because of this, K'sheyashav al Hashem, Yuchalapich libe min hakotza la kotza, shegam koyach ha'mesav shahaya melubash b'tay v'ra, Yashav lavas Hashem. And therefore, when a person returns, he can transform his heart from one extreme to another extreme. It's not just a little change. It's a completely different extreme. That the very koyach ha'mesava, that very drive, that very passion, that yesterday was manifested, it was harnessed, it was directed, it was melubash. What character did it take on? It took on a character of a taiverah. So this is a dirty koyach ha'mesava. It says, no, you have to strip it from the levush. The levush that it took on, taka, is a taiverah. But the etzem of it, the core of it, if you could look deeper than the very taiva itself. The very taiva itself is the levush of the koyach ha'mesava. Koyach ha'mesava is the power to crave. What am I going to crave? What am I going to crave? So as a result of shviras hakelim, as a result of shviras hakelim, of the breaking of the vessels, I can mistake. I can make that mistake and look for solutions that won't stop the problem, won't heal the problem, won't solve the problem. They'll actually perpetuate it. But it's solutions that seem very promising, or very tempting, or very easy. So that's what happens. So it takes on the levush, it takes on the character of the taivara, and sometimes it's hard to distinguish. But he says you have to be able to distinguish between the chitzonius, the outer shell, and the pneumius. The outer shell of the taiva, which may be completely overtaking you at the moment, that's a taivara. That's toxic. It's maybe promiscuous, immoral. It's not good. It's negative. It's an aveira. But the koyach ha'mesavi says Yoshev lavas Hashem. There could be the b'chol of avcha. That very Yetzer Hara. Again, there's the chitzonius of the Yetzer Hara, and there's the pneumius of it. Avol ha'maisa ra asher yasa adam lachtoi behena. But the action, which may be negative, that the person is doing, lachtoi behena, which is a chet, a sin, machmas shuhu be'emes ra gomer mitzad atzma. Since this action, or these words, or this behavior, is really absolutely wrong, that cannot be absorbed in holiness. Ki ein aveda nasas mitzvah. An aveda doesn't become a mitzvah. Ve'ein lo takana. It cannot be repaired. Ela bitula v'havarasa min ha'olam. Only by obliterating it and removing it from the world. Kamocha kasav l'asad lava. As the prophet says about the times of Mashiach, v'esruach hatuma avir min ha'aretz. The spirit of impurity I'm going to remove from the land, from the world. V'zehu noisei oven v'koivish oven. That's the two opinions in Gemara. If Hashem is noisei oven, or Hashem is koivish oven. As he mentioned in the beginning of Ois Daled, the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah Yud Zayin speaks about two opinions, if Hashem is noisei oven or koivish oven. One says Hashem is noisei oven, lifts up the sins. And the other one says he's koivish oven. He suppresses, he subdues, he conquers. He lowers the avainas. Which one is it? So he says, and we have psukim for both, right? We have the pasuk noisei oven v'over al pasha. Every morning in Yidgom Midas Harachim from Parshas Kisisa is noisei oven. Then you have in Micha, it says over there also, Keil Kamocha noisei oven v'over al pasha, which is again it's a quote from Yidgom Midas Harachim Parshas Kisisa. But then you have Yichbosh Avoneseinu is Kaivash Oven. So the Amirayim are arguing. Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Chanin are arguing. Which one is it? Kaivash Oven and Noisei Oven. Al Pi Pshat, it's hard to understand. One explanation is, does he push the scale down or does he push the scale up? Does he go to the side of the mitzvahs and he pushes it down? Or does he go to the side of the Averis and he pushes it up? So the Balatanya says, he said, both are emes. Noisei oven hainu koyach hamis'ava l'tayvera. The noisei oven relates to the koyach hamis'ava, to the koyach that craves, the drive, the passion behind the tayvera. V'chein hamachshava hamalubeshes b'tayvezu. And the thought that is being expressed through this tayva. When I'm feeling a taiva, there's a process behind it. It didn't come from a vacuum. There's a set of machshavas that are behind it. The thought process that brought me here. A taiva doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's not just there's a craving, there's a passion, there's a drive. There's an awareness, there's a certain perception of me and reality that is being expressed through this taiva. So he says, when you go to that, here he says, oh, noisei oven. Here, you lift up the oven. Noisei. From the word to pick up, to lift up, kisisa. What's pshat? Shemagbiyoi lalois l'sharshai. You could look at the koyach hamisava and say, you're bad, you're bad. You lift it up, embrace it, examine it, bring it back to its ultimate shayrish, lehiskalel b'kedusha elyoina, where it will become absorbed, subsumed, nichlal, in the Kedusha Elyon, in the sacred divine holiness. And therefore, which can transform a person's hearts and his thoughts from one extreme to another extreme. This very koyach hamisava, that a moment ago, or an hour ago, or a day ago, a year ago, drove you, bunkers, and drove you down the deep end. This very koyach hamisava now becomes the passion and the drive for the love of Hashem. That's noisei oven. And then this kovish oven. What's kovish oven? Kovish oven, hainu hamaisa b'poil mamash. Kovish oven is, I can't continue with these destructive acts. It's not going to work. This you have to say goodbye to. I have to be able to identify what I'm really, really, really searching for. And that can become a source of tremendous kedusha. But certain things, I got to go. It's not going to work with it. That's v'koivish oven. I know amaisa v'poil mamish she'ein la'aliyah v'skalulus b'kedusha.
They both happen at the same time. Kovish and at the same moment.
Yeah, well, the truth is that there's different moments in a person's life. Just like we say by Hashem, there's noise and kovish by a person also. Usually when I'm in the midst of a tremendous taiva, the Torah is about noise oven are not going to work. You just got to go away. It's not going to work. You know what I mean? Because it's too intense.
The noise of it is when time is not in existence, when you're talking about.
Yeah, but then a person sometimes could look back, maybe later, you're more reflective. When the fire is burning, when a craving is burning, noisei aher, noisei ahin, shviras hakela, this is what I want, there's nothing else. You tell me, no, it's not what you want, it's exactly what I want. Right? It's not very rational. This is where the person is right now. At that moment, you just have to say no. There's a sefer Divrei Yecheskel from the Shinavirav. He was a son of the Tzanzer of the Divrei Chaim. So he writes in Parshas Vayeshav, on the word Vayima'in, when Yosef refuses Potiphar's wife, there's a shalshelas. Vayima'in. What's the shalshelas? Vayima'in means he refused. So he says that Yosef basically told the wife of Potiphar, nein, nein, nein. It's probably in Yiddish too. Also hat gesagt in Yiddish, nein, nein, nein. Or whatever language Yosef spoke to the wife of Potiphar. Vayimoyin, nein, nein, nein. Did you hear what I say? No, no, no. And Siach Sarfei Kodesh is a sefer from the Torah from the Kotzker Rebbe, some Chabinim of Pshischa. So I think I saw there that Yosef tells Potiphar's wife, Vayimoyin, and he gives a whole explanation. And he says, how can I do such a thing? Your husband entrusted me with everything in the house. He doesn't run anything here. I do everything. The only thing, he said, that is off limits is halechem asher oichel, the bread he eats, which is a euphemism for his marriage. Yeah. And how do you want me to do such a bad thing? And he finishes over, v'chatasi laHashem. I'm going to sin to God if I do this. So he said, l'chayre, he should have said, v'chatanu laHashem. She's also not allowed to betray her husband. V'davak be'ishtoi. V'loi be'ishtas chavere, the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, is one of, at least according to one opinion, one of the Sheva mitzvahs b'nei Noach. He could have told her, it's v'chatanu, it's not only I'm not allowed to do it, because you're married to a man, you're also not allowed to do it. It's a bigger argument. Yeah? So you know what he says? He says, the moment he would say v'chatanu, shena shidduch. It's already there's a we. Of course, a very beautiful we want to serve God. He knew how dangerous that is. V'chatanu, it's a very, very powerful idea in life. You see it. He knew that's already, it's a pitfall. So that's why he makes this very important distinction. There's a time that the only thing a person can do at that moment is kovish, not noisei. Because you're too entangled in it. And if you're going to romanticize the koyach hamisava, you're going to end up romanticizing the ra. And that's what often happens.
The English and horror. I'm talking a very abstract topic, but you sit in a group and somebody wants to say something, if I'll go, hey, let's not talk Lashon Hara. It's not going to work. If I say, I don't, I'm out of here, it works much better.
Yeah. Yeah. So even in a person's life, there's a moment when the taiva is burning, I don't have the ability to see the potential purity of my koyach hamasavach. I'm stuck. What I have to then do is koivish oven. You have to say, I'm out of here. This is, you just know it's destructive. It's going to bring you to bad places. It's not a good thing. You have to run. You have to run for your life. But that's only part of the picture. Then there's something that's a different mahalach. And the two are both very true. Depends which side, which dimension you're talking about. Then there's noisei oven. And noisei oven is really a process of education. Koivish oven is a process of, it's black and white. Noisei oven is a process of sublimation, of enlightenment, of education, of reorientation. Yeah. That's what he says. The koivish oven is the ma'aseh b'poel mamash she'ein la aliyah v'skalulus b'kedusha. It can't work both ways. Emes, we spoke yesterday that addiction is not always the solution. It's the problem. I'm sorry, it's not always the problem, it's the solution. You have to identify what the problem is. When a person can identify what the problem is, he has to realize, though, what I have been doing as a solution, it's not going to work. I'm going to have to get rid of it. I'm going to have to go, as they say, cold turkey. And there's going to be a lot of resistance. And there's going to be the anxiety of separation. Because when you're used to something, it becomes a second habit, and it becomes your separation. So there's a lot of anxiety involved. And remember, you don't just leave Egypt in one day. It took 40 years, and throughout the 40 years, whenever there was a problem, the Jews had the same response. Nitna Rosh v'noshuva Mitzrayim, let's go back. Why do you want to go back to a place where they took your children and threw them into the river, into the Nile Delta? Why do you want to go back to a place where they slave labored you? Because it's I know it, I know this place, I'm familiar. Whether the Stockholm syndrome or the battered woman syndrome or whatever syndrome you want to talk about. Or maybe just it's a familiar evil. Somehow there's a comfort zone here. A crazy comfort zone, a ridiculous comfort zone, but a comfort zone. It's toxic, it's destructive. It's just a place we know. Midbar, I don't know, I can't rely on heaven. The Mitzrayim, it's predictable. It's chaos, but it's predictable. There's something comforting about it. Whenever there's a revolution, there's a problem, there's no water, there's no meat, there's no bread, there's no this. Let's go back. Where are you going back? To Gan Eden? And you'll figure out good things that were there. Because it's not easy. It's not an easy separation. Because I become so entangled with it. That's why noisei oven is a very deep experience. Noisei oven is the ability to be able to be somewhat objective and to look at it from a distance and to say, no. The Maisa and me are two completely separate things. What I really, really need, what I really, really want, what I really, really desire is a different reality completely. And in its source, that koyach hamasava is not corrupt. It's not destructive. He says in its source, if you can go pre-shviras hakelim, you'll find that it's really looking for oneness. It's looking for attachment. It's looking to be truthful. It wants alignment with Hashem. It's really an akud of avos Hashem. Elamai, right now, it's completely distorted. And it's harnessed and it's manifested in all types of other things. So there's the koivish and there's the noise. It says, the ma'isa ra ein la aliyah v'skalos b'durja kim bittul v'avara l'asad lava. It needs to be obliterated. Mekalma gam ata, but even now, koivsha, he squeezes it down, he suppresses it, umapila b'bchinas mitzulas yam, and throws it into the mitzulas yam, into the depths of the sea, as the pasuk says in Micha, which we say by Tashlich. You cast it away. Where? Into the depths of the sea. Meaning, even before it's obliterated, you may not be able to get rid of it, but it should be bal yera, bal yemotzi. Just it should be in the bottom of the sea. In other words, you want to step on it until it becomes not a part of your life. We have the ability now to get rid of it completely? We don't. But at least tashlich we can do. There's a big difference. Can I get rid of it? Vesruach hatum ha'avim in aretz is it's completely gone. The whole reality is gone. The reality is not gone, but at least it should be b'mitzulas yom. Mitzulas yom means it's all the way on the bottom of the sea. It's not an available reality. This doesn't become my daily routines. Yeah, I'm stressed out, I have anxiety, this is where I go. I don't go there, it's b'mitzulas yom. I mean, if you're going to work hard, you can bring it up from the yam, you know. You can go scuba diving, or you can go deep down into the mitzulas yom and bring up the Titanic. However, on a day-to-day basis, this remains, that's what tashlich is. I can't get rid of it, but I can throw it away into the mitzulas yom. That's the koivish of it. Huh?
That what you said the other day.
Yeah.
Balchuva goes
Yeah.
back and...
Yeah, but that's the avoid of the zdoinus nasa like kazachis is not a stira. But the aveda remains ein aveda nasas mitzvah. It's not sure the aveda is a mitzvah. You know, like he says in Tanya, in Perek Zayin, that through tshuva me'ava, so what can happen is that the aveda brings him to a great place of awareness. But the aveda itself is a davar ra. It's not, doesn't become a davar mutter. So therefore, you have koif shom apilim b'chinas mitzulas yam. What's mitzulas yam? Mekayim haklippus. What's up mitzulas yam? The depths of the sea. That represents the place of the klippus of the shells. Shaloi teshoitet ba'avira olam haza. This maisa, these deeds should not swim. They should not float. They should not roam in the atmosphere of olam haza, in the atmosphere of the person. Lahachti yasa adam. This is a very powerful expression. That's the sashlich b'mitzulas yom, because everything remains in the avir, in the atmosphere, and you could glean from it. It becomes available. Lahachti asadam v'lo yashuv lechisla. Person shouldn't return. To cause the person to sin. It shouldn't remain roaming in the atmosphere. It's like it's an available, it's an available option. V'lo yashuv lechisla. The person shouldn't return to foolishness. Ad eis ketz, until the time, the end of time. Sheyivula hamavos lanetzach. Prophet says death will be swallowed up forever, and here he means death, not just physical death, but also spiritual death. V'esruach hatuma avim min haaretz. V'zeu, this is the meaning of the pasuk. Noisei oven v'oiver al pesha. The pasuk starts Keil Kamocha. That's how the Maimah started. Keil Kamocha. That the Keil, your chesed, extends even to the lowest place. Even the person who says, I'm stuck, I'm in prison. Precisely, he can get everything because the water will go down to the lowest place. So he says, how does the chesed elyon get revealed in the Baal Tshuva from Lamaylam and Azman and Zman? So he says, Noisei oven v'over al pesha. What's the difference? Oiver means you pass over, right? Like you say, la'avar, yeah? Oiver b'rishus harab. You pass through, you pass over. That's what oiver means. Noise means you lift up. So he says, Pesha hibchinas ha'maisa b'poel mamash. Pesha represents the actual action, what the person is doing, the behavior. This hu oiver v'doirech. When you pass on something, you step on it. How do you pass over? Says this, he passes over, meaning he steps on it. And he, so to speak, holds it down into the depths of the sea. So it remains nichbash. The word koivish is also from the word kibush, which means conquer. When you conquer something, yeah, you have it. You have a grip over it. Yeah, you're wrestling somebody and you koivish him, you conquer him. Doesn't mean he's gone, but you have a grip over it. You have a control over it. That's what doirich. Doirich means you're on top of it. It's not on top of you. You don't serve it; it serves you. It's under your feet. That's the sashlich b'mitzulas yom. Mashenkin b'chinas avayin, but the avayin who noisei, he lifts up. He doesn't step on it. He takes it in. The hainu b'chinas koyach hamisava. The koyach, the drive, the passion, the craving, the core craving behind the sin, inside of it. Umachshava sa'adam, and the thoughts of a person that ultimately brought this craving. The tachbuloisav and the schemes. This is noisei. So there's avon and there's pesha. And the distinction he's making here between avon and pesha is pesha is the actual sin in actuality. That's oiver al pesha. You have to learn to step on that, meaning to have full control over it. It should not control you. It has to be under you. You have to be able to conquer it. That's yichboy shavon eseinu, oiver al pesha. The avon comes from the word ivus, mu'uvas, which means a distortion. A distortion is, there's an idea and it gets distorted. Avoin is something that really is very, very pure, but it got distorted. It got distorted into my thinking that this taiva, this action, or these words, or these actions, or this pursuit, or these thoughts, this is going to bring me my Messiah, this is going to bring me my happiness, my redemption. That's an ivus, that's a distortion. A distortion could be straightened out. Yeah. Somebody once said, Derech Rishayim Ya'aves, we say in Hallelujah after Ashrei, right? At the end over there, what's the Lashon? Yosef Valmani Ya'oided, V'derech Rishayim Ya'aves. So he said, V'derech Rishayim Ya'aves literally means the path of the wicked, he's going to make crooked. Right? He's going to, Ya'aves is you're going to distort it. So he said, V'derech Rishayim, the way of the Rishayim is the crooked. So Ya'aves means God will make it straight. The derech Rishayim, the derech of Rishayim is distorted, it's crooked. So Ya'aves, he's going to make it distorted from the way it is, so maybe it could become straight. So Avoin is the Koyach HaMis'ava, which can get Mu'uvas, distorted, and that's the Noisei Avoin. It can be uplifted, V'haftas Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha. V'hina Ya'idei shen Noisei Avoin v'ovid al Pesha. Like in every midah, it's not just about Hashem, it's about a person. The person is Noisei Avoin v'ovid al Pesha, who meised ha-mesachim ha-mavdilim. He removes all the mesachim, the curtains, the veils that separate. V'azai nimshech memela, u'me'elav, liyos gil chesed elyon, liyos gilui oirin seif baruch hu mamash, shelifnei ha'ishtal shelo selamayla min hazman al nefesh adam. By removing all the mesachim, the veils that separate. So this allows that memela, even though the person sees himself as stuck in a low place, but this allows that there is revealed automatically a grace from above, that Oirein Sof Mamish is revealed. What do we mean Oirein Sof? That which is beyond the Shtal Shalus, Alamayla Ben Azman, it's beyond time, Al Nefesh Adam, on the human soul. Why? Ki the emes Ki Ani Hashem Lo Shanisiksev. As the Pasuk says in Malachi, I, God, have never changed. Va'atu Koidem Shenivra Olam, Va'atu Achash Shenivra Olam, Belishum Shinra. As we say in the morning, you are the one before the world was created, you're the one after, and it says who? Atu Akoid Achale Nivra Olam, Atu, meaning it's the same who. Belishum Shinra, there's no change. So therefore the same exact oneness beyond time that was there always is here now, even when Zman was created. The reason it's not perceived by the soul of a person is it's because the avoin is because of the person's own internal distortions which make you believe that you're separated. So they stop you from experiencing your true oneness with Ein Sof, which is L'mayla Min Hazman, and which in every moment is an opportunity for absolute eternity. The moment you remove the preventer, the cover-up, the obstacle, automatically there was no partition, because there was never a partition. And then the Ein Sof Mamish becomes revealed on the human soul. In other words, the truth of reality is Ani Hashem Lo Shanisi. So there's always a state of absolute oneness, complete oneness, just like before creation. Before creation, no one thinks there was anything but oneness. It says that state of oneness still exists. The distortion can happen in my perception, my experience, as a result of my own definition of reality. That's pshat avoynei seichem avdilim beinechem lebein Hashem Elokeichem. Your sins create the havdalah. The moment you remove this noisei oven through the two stages of noisei oven, when it comes to the oven, you lift it up. When it comes to the pesha, the maisa, you step on it. So then it's Keil Kamocha. You have tshuva kadma la'olam, that the essence of the truth of Ein Sof beyond the shtalshel is beyond zman, can become present in the person's life, as he says, mamish al nafshay, on his soul, in the here and the now. Even though, what do you mean? We live in the world of time, as we explained at length. The Ein Sof doesn't exist in the world of time. It's a creator of time. Time is a creation. Time is therefore relative. And therefore, what looks like a moment is not just an ability of a moment. I'm connecting to something that's Ein Sof, that's completely beyond time, and therefore it's eternal. Essentially. But the Navi adds one more detail. Achine ksiv l'she'eris nachalosai. Keil Kamocha, noisei avan, v'over al pesha, l'she'eris nachalosai. V'amru Razal, and this the Gemara says there in Rosh Hashanah Daf Yud Zayin, l'mi noisei avan v'over al pesha, l'mi shemesim atzmei k'shirayim. The pasuk says, who is a God like you? You carry sin, or you uplift sin, v'over al pesha, you forego or you step on the transgression. L'she'eris nachalosai, literally, for the remainder of his inheritance. She'eris is like sha'ar, the leftover, right? Those who remain. So the Gemara says the aliyah v'koitzba. Basically, you're giving somebody the tail of a sheep, which is considered the fatty part of the sheep, but with a thorn inside. You say nois yavim v'ovid al pesha, but not for everybody. L'she'eris nachalosai. For the remainder, who are the remainder? So the Gemara says, "Lemisha meisem atzmai k'shirayim." Somebody who sees himself like shirayim, like leftover. What does this mean? Literally means leftovers, means insignificant. Like the leftovers, the leftovers of a meal. It's like it goes to the garbage. L'she'eris nachalosai is if you see yourself as shirayim. Shirayim is, right? You know what shirayim is, huh? Some of you grew up with shirayim, huh? So shirayim literally means, shirayim, I'm eating, and the shirayim in Hebrew, which means that's which is left over. So you may give it to somebody, you may distribute it. So here the Gemara says, if you make yourself like shirayim, you're she'eris, nachalosai, then noisei avim v'ovid al pesha. What's the meaning of this? What does it mean you make yourself like shirayim? So he says, v'inyin, ki hinei ksiv, the pasuk says, as we just quoted, ani Hashem lo yishanisi, v'atem b'nei Yaakov lo yichilisa. I have not changed, and you, the children of Yaakov, have not ceased. Literally, the Navi is saying, I am eternal, and you're eternal. Nobody can kill God, nobody can kill the Jewish people. Ani Hashem lo yishanisi, v'atem b'nei Yaakov lo yichilisam. Chilisam from the word vayichulu, ended. You have not ended, even though there are many attempts to obliterate you. But as long as I'm around, you'll also be around. V'atem adveikim Hashem elokeichem Chaim. But here he's going to give a whole different level of interpretation. Pirush Hanavi Koivel al bnei Yaakov. The prophet is lamenting. Koivel means a kloktzach. He's lamenting. He's expressing deep pain on bnei Yaakov. Why? I have not changed. You are post-creation like you were before creation. Transcending the realm of time-space, or space-time. Time and space do not occupy any time or space to create a real chatzitza, to create a real transformation, a real change. If this is true, he remains alone and singular post-creation, like pre-creation. There's nothing outside of this, and like we say in Aleinu, ein emes malkeinu, right? Ein oid efes. What's the lashon in Aleinu? We say every morning. Hu alakeinu ein oid emes malkeinu efes zulasa. Efes zulasa means there's nothing zulasa outside, separate from him. V'lama atam b'nei Yaakov lo kilisem. When you realize this, how can it be that lo kilisem pirush ein lechem klois hanefesh? You don't have a desire of the soul, lotzis b'maiser agufim min arteka, to leave the prison of the body and the shell. The nartik is like the sheath that holds it down. Not to be pulled in to just material needs, but to remain in a desire of perpetual dveikus, oneness with Ein Sof and his midas all day. Because the Navi says, even if a person really understands this, even if you get it, that the truth is that Kula Kamei, everything in his presence, Kaloi Choshev, doesn't have separate significance, doesn't occupy space. Atu Koidim Shenivra, Atu La'achar, that the same reality of pre-creation of complete oneness still exists today. Even if you can understand this, Mikol Makam, Lo Yispoil Benafshay, Sheyehinei Geil Lo El Atzmiyas HaNefesh, Mikerev Ish V'Leiv Amok, Shetichle Lo Yizborach HaNefesh B'Tshuka V'Tzemoyin. It will not move his soul, that it should really touch the core of your soul, the depth of your heart, that the nefesh should go out with a tshuka and etzemoyin, even if you understand it intellectually and you perceive it, but to say that the person really gets it to the point that his nefesh is moved by it, your etzem nefesh is moved by it, in the deepest place, that this is who I am, this is what I want, the Navi says it doesn't happen, and he wonders, how? Atni Hashem lo shanisi. How could you not be moved by it? How could you not be transformed by it? But the Navi also gives the explanation. He calls them the unusual term. Atem b'nei Yaakov loichilis. It's b'nei Yaakov. Ki Yaakov hu yud ekev. What's Yaakov? Yaakov represents two words, yud, ekev. Yud is the letter yud. Ekev is the sole of the foot. That's why Yaakov was named Yaakov, right? Because he was his yodoi, his yud, was holding on to Akev, the heel of Esav, his brothers. They called him Yaakov. What does it represent spiritually? P'chines chachma sheyarda ba'akvayim, v'soif ha'maised b'madreges tachtoines dasiya gashmas. Yaakov is the yud chachma, yud is chachma, which descends into the akvayim, into the heels, into the end of Maisa, the lowest levels of Asiya. The children of Yaakov are those who receive, they're children, they're the offspring from the state of Ekev, from the state of Akvayim, from the state of a heel. The soul is taken from that place. There's always the Yud is the source, the Chachma, the light of the Ein Sof which dwells in Chachma, but that sometimes descends, it always descends into the lowest levels in the evolution of Ishtalshalos. And then there's the Bnei Yaakov, the souls that come from there. Memela. Ulefichach ein hanefesh mispa'eles midvarim dakim v'ruchnem. And that's why many a soul will not be moved from things that are edel, from dvarim dakim. It's too edel, it's too true, it's too sacred. I need you should speak a little more to my ego. I need you to... You speak real dakos, dvarim dakim. Dakim means thin, but here it means very subtle, very edel. It doesn't move me. Why? Because I don't have that sensitivity. Because I'm from the... Every person has a soul. And the soul is rooted in the divine, in truth. But there's Yisrael, there's Yaakov, and then there's the Bnei Yaakov. He says, Va'atem Bnei Yaakov. So you can hear everything about Ani Hashem lo shanisi, but you're not really transformed by it. It's not fodder that can transform you. He's a higher soul, if it doesn't get this dakos, it's not moved. But a lower soul, it needs things to be more brute. It doesn't experience so much. It always experiences something. We're talking about a soul, but it doesn't experience so much the bittul, the oneness in Ein Sof that's beyond its talshalos. The glow from beyond the talshalos is like from a distance. It's a little light. It's looking for ishtalshalos. Ishtalshalos means I want to find myself in God. I don't want to lose myself in God. I want the Ein Sof to be able to be relatable to me. That's ishtalshalos. The bittul shalamayla ishtalshalos, it experiences it only a little bit. Like somebody who's gazing through charakim. Charakim is like a, you're like a little crack in the door, the peephole. It's like the Keil. Kametzitz min hacharakim, b'bchinas makif. We say there's mashgiach min hachaloinus in Shehashirim. We say in Kiddush Levana mashgiach min hachaloinus, right? And then there's meitzitz min hacharakim. Meitzitz min hacharakim. Meitzitz also means light. You could see gaze, like the tzitz, you gaze. But it's a little light min hacharakim that comes through the cracks. So it's a very little light. Ve'enei nichnes bepnimiyus alev liyas toichei rotzav ava beklois hanefesh mamash. So therefore this oir of Ani Hashem lo yishanisi doesn't enter into the core of the heart. That toichei, its whole inside will be rotzav, will be tiled, so to speak, with love. It's an expression from Shir HaShirim, with a yearning of the soul mamash. V'agam shemitzad atzmi is hanefesh afili mimadrega tachtoina ma'od. Harei mikol makoim nefesh elikis. And even though, if you're talking about the soul, the core of the soul, even if it's the lowest type of soul, Bnei Yaakov, it's a divine soul. And before it came down, what's the definition of the soul? It was completely one with Ein Sof, like a ner, like a flame, b'fnei ha'avuka, in the presence of a huge fire. Ner b'fnei ha'avuka is what happens when you take one candle and you bring it to the huge fire. It becomes subsumed in it. It's not separate. When you take the candle away from the big flame, so now the candle burns on its own. That's like the neshama separating somewhat. But in essence, what was this neshama always? It's batal mamash and Ein Sof, like ner b'fnei ha'avuka. That's all true, but mitzad islapshusa b'nefesh habahamis. But because the soul went through a journey and is now enclosed in an animal soul, hine hanefesh asher madrega atachtoina. So a soul that comes from a lower place, harei melubeshes ma'oid umushreshes b'teva nefesh habahamis, becomes completely enclosed and entrenched in the nature of the animal soul, umashul chachatzorche gufa, to the point that it is gravitating and becomes entrenched in just the physical needs, and that takes me over. And it's hard for the soul to separate. Because this soul is called gasus ruach. What's pshat gasus ruach? The world teaches gasus ruach means arrogance. Gasus is arrogance. The Baal Tanya says gasus ruach means something else. You know what gasus ruach is? Shaharuchni is ubebchinas gasus va'avius. Gasus ruach means your ruchni is dik. But your ruchnius is thick, it's dense, it's brute. The ruchnius is gasus. So therefore, even the soul, even though it's a ruach, it's a gasus ruach. In other words, there's a ruchnius that's a grubber ruchnius, and there's a ruchnius that's an edel ruchnius. A ruchnius that's a grubber ruchnius is a ruchnius that still has tremendous amount of ego to it, even if it's a spiritual, but it's a gasus ruch. I can only relate to ruchnius. It's more. It has to be grub. He says gasus ruch means a grub ruchnius, a thick ruchnius, a dense ruchnius. That's what he can relate to. It's hard for the soul to be moved by things that are dak. It's very subtle, it's very dark, even though it's much more real, it's much deeper, but it doesn't move me because I'm in a different place. What happens is the bruteness of the body dresses up the soul from head to bottom, from top to bottom, and therefore the nefesh becomes part of that. So the Navi says, Ani Hashem lo yishanisi v'atem bnei Yaakov lo ychilisa. You don't inherit. It doesn't really get to you. It doesn't talk, even if you understand it and you relate to it. You're talking about a nefesh. It's a chelik elikat, a nefesh elikis. But like kilissim, it doesn't move you on that level. Or befrat bebal tshuva. Shemitchil nimshach achatzarche gufa v'kasha lo liparid mimenu machmas shul melubash mushish beteva gases v'chumnis aguf v'nefesh abamas amal bishimos. Especially somebody that for so many years of his life he became entrenched in a certain lifestyle which he cannot, very hard for him to separate from. He's entrenched in a nature of bruteness and coarseness and crudeness because the animal soul, v'slap shazu, and this enclosement, nikra b'raya me'emne b'shem sirchis hareya. In Zohar, it's called sirchis hareya. In the laws of shchit and laws of kashrus, one of the big problems is, you shecht an animal, the shochet has to check the lung. What is he checking the lung? It's called sirchus, right? The difference of kosher and glatt kosher is what's glatt. Glatt means it's smooth, glatt, smooth. Sirchus hareya, sircha means an adhesion, in English, an adhesion. It's when a part of the reya, there's a growth from it, and it's attached to another part. And this could be sometimes eclipsing something fatal, a hole or something in the lungs. So he says, Hareya nisreches. The lung, there's an adhesion. It gets pulled and attached. Udvuka umushreshes acheini yichel lahanef al alev. The reya cannot do its function, lahanef al alev, which is to oxygenate, to give oxygen. Lahanef is to lift up, like to, when you take a fan and you lift it back and forth to give oxygen. Lahanef al alev, to be able to do what it has to do for the blood, which is give it oxygen so that the lev could get the oxygenated blood, which it could then transfer to the whole body. But the sirchus hareya may be holding back the lungs. Ki ein lakoyach lahalis knafel. What does this mean spiritually? Ein lakoyach. A person doesn't have the ability lahalis knafel, to raise his wings like a bird. Lefarcha, to fly. Ulasolka kadam malka, and to go up to the king. Because there's a sircha, I'm being held down, so therefore I can't fly, I can't soar. That's what a sirchas hareya is. So the reya, which really has the ability to bring in oxygen, lahanef al alev, it's like the wings of the lung. If you look at a lung, it has that image of the knafayim, the wings. They can't soar freely to fly upwards because something is holding it down. The only thing a person feels is himself and his desires at the moment. That's what I feel. I'm not capable of anything more. So I could speak, I could learn, I could understand, I could understand, I could perceive. But he says, but I'm not touched by it. Why? Because even though I have a soul, but it's gas ruach. All the ruchnis that it can relate to is only things that are gas. It has to be tangible, it has to be thick, it has to be brute, it has to be crude. You speak to me a little too edel and I'm gone, I'm dead. It's not my language. It doesn't interest me. Why doesn't it interest me? Because even my ruchnius is echgrab. Even when I'm a ruchni, it's a gases ruach. It's a thick, it's a crude type of ruchnius. That which is beyond the shtalshalos, beyond zman, the truth of Ein Sof, of the bittul to Ein Sof, of complete achdus. It's not going into me. So even if his heart understands the whole truth, what's the truth? So he says, even if you can understand the truth, what's the truth? The truth is that the whole world, which is under time and under space, it lives, it exists in the realm of space-time. When a person can understand that it's ka'ayin ve'efes, it's like nothing, mamash, and it's completely bottled. It's completely subsumed in the Ein Sof, which is beyond its shtalshalos. Because ani Hashem lo yishanisi, atu lacha shenivra elam, atu kaidem shenivra elam, atu. Like you said, that the whole zman and makom is basically the two letters of Aleph Beis, the two letters of Hey and Yud, in the presence of all the words that you uttered, and therefore there is the complete unity and bittul of Ein Sof of the world legabe Ein Sof. But a person says, what do you want from me? I don't know what you want. I don't know what you're talking about. What should I do? This is who I am. This is how I was created. What are you going to change? You're going to teach an old dog new tricks? What willst du from me? I don't know what you're talking about, even if I understand what you're saying. So the Alter Rebbe says, it's not often that he gets so graphic in a maimer, that no one understands what he's talking about. That they understand, but nobody feels it. It says, there's only one Eitzah, Bezoya Parshas Shlach. When there's a log that can't catch on fire, what do you do with the log? You have to splinter it. When you have a body, a person, that the light cannot grab it, the log is very thick. So you also have to splinter the log. What's pshat? The person has to be able to feel the humility from this itself. The person should be able to experience this itself, that he cannot separate from his own perception of life and reality. V'yasim eliboy, and he should think to himself, Shagam poisha Yisrael, porkei oil, ha'over kama avedes rak lamalas tavasa. There are poisha Yisrael, there are sinners among Israel, porkei oil. They completely remove the yoke of God, and they transgress many sins for one reason, because they have a taiva, they have a craving. V'agam sheyodei shem ben mamash. Even though the Parshas Yisrael may know that there's no substance to this. He did it yesterday, he did it a year ago. He cannot save his soul from following this path. It's just the way he is, he just follows it, almost blindly. Why? He doesn't want to, this is just easy, this is his comfort zone, this is what he's used to. He doesn't want to humble himself. He doesn't want to stress himself. He doesn't want to challenge himself. He doesn't want that. He tells himself, Shalom yiyali ki b'shrirus libi elech. As the pasuk says, I will be at peace. I will just follow the cravings of my heart. Ki tivi garmali. This is my nature. This is who I am. What do you want? You're going to come to me and you want me to reinvent myself, to change myself. This is who I am. This is always who I was. And I want to follow it, even though he himself may know that it's completely wrong. He says, "Ube'emes ein zu taina." Is this a real taina in life? This is who I am. This is what I do. It's not a taina. Why? Ki tzarich l'shanes es tivoi. Who said you're not here just to be in your comfort zone? You're here to change yourself, to challenge yourself, to stimulate, to change your tava, v'lishber tavasai, to break, to challenge your addictions, v'lizbel chayitzar neged kochashai b'Hashem, and to experience the pain of living in a denial, in a state of denial, to be able to transform yourself. So he says, the Balatanya is talking to this person who is not a Parshei Yisrael, but who also says that when it comes to Gasas Ruach, this is who I am. He says, V'kach yosim ha'adam ha'liboy, a person should take to heart, lishber taivus hagov v'chumri yusay, to challenge the addictions of the body and its bruteness. There should be nothing in his life that stops and prevents the revelation of the Ein Sof and its holiness, so that he could be completely one. Because that's the true state of reality. And if he cannot break his addictions, and all he wants is to be able to remain on an easy, comfortable path that doesn't challenge him. He says, this is my nature. I don't want to challenge it. So his taina is mamish the taina of the Parshei Yisrael. Even the great sinner always says to himself, this is who I am. And yet, you say challenge yourself. But on another level, this person is saying exactly the same thing. So the Balatanya finishes just a few minutes here. When a person gets a little deeper into this, and he sees how deep his yeshus is, how deep his yeshus, his egotism is, and his gasus, his arrogance is. What do we say arrogance here? It doesn't mean arrogance necessarily regular arrogance. The gasus haruach means the thickness of the spirit. Yevate shatzmai. This is how you splinter the log. When you realize it, v'yashpil nafshei ka'afar, and the person's soul will be as humble as earth. A person suddenly, this itself opens you up. When I realize the pettiness, when I realize how stuck I am, this is how you splinter the log. You splinter a log physically, you take an axe and you splinter it, now it can catch on fire. How do you splinter yourself? You don't take an axe and destroy yourself. You open yourself up, how? To the fire, to the light. How do you open yourself up? By realizing this itself, by realizing how much I don't get it. And even though this bitter, this splintering and this humbleness is not coming from atzmos hanefesh betiva, from his core soul by nature, he has to work on it and has to think about it. He says, Ine alze amar, so he may think it's not really true. Alze amar David HaMelech alav hashalom, leiv nishbar v'nitke lekim lo sivza. A leiv nishbar, broken heart that's crushed, God doesn't disgrace. He doesn't lekim lo sivza. You will not embarrass, meaning you will hold it precious. L'chayre ain't moving. V'chisol kadaitach shalev nishbar v'nitke yechashav lebizayin. Atsham David amalach al loy sivza. Why would anybody think that God would ridicule or embarrass a heart that's broken? And David says, a broken heart, you don't loy sivza. How do you touch loy sivza? You don't, you don't shame. Why would you think he would shame it? Well, he wants to take advantage of vulnerable people. He said, "Leiv nishba v'nitke lekim loy sivza." Adirabah shvachu leleiv sheyeh nishba v'nitke. It's a shevach. It's an elevated space. Kamocha kasav in the same kapitel. Non aleph zivchei lekim ruach nishbara. When a leiv is nishbar, a broken heart, it becomes a carbon for Hashem. Uksiv marim v'kadosh eshkon v'zdako shval ruach. The Navi says, God says, I'm exalted, I'm holy, but I dwell in somebody who's humble. A leiv nishbar. So why does David HaMelech saying, such a person you don't shame? Because look at his words. He says, leiv nishbar v'nitke. Sholashen nifal. Mashenkin milas dako shame davar. There's a difference between marim v'kadosh eshkon as dako shval ruach and nitke. Nitke is, it happens to you. Nitke. It's a nifl, it's a result. Daka is the actual noun. So he says, Kimisho daka be'emes vaday shvachu loy eshken ves daka. Somebody who's taka daka, that's a gewaldike shvach. I dwell in the one who's daka. Aval nitke, what's nitke? Hainu shaydei yegiye ba'amokus is beinenus hu mashpilas atzmai v'nasa nitke aydei pu'ula she'oise b'nafshay aydei shakadosh baruch hu shelech alav yisurim el maila lachniya o lashpilay. There's a very big difference between daka and nitke. Daka means he's taka in that state. He's completely in that state of humbleness, of vulnerability. Nitke means he's like almost passive. Sometimes life breaks people. He says a person experiences different things in life. They didn't do anything to it. They would have remained stubborn, but sometimes in life, he says, Shelech alav yisurin. Sometimes a person gets subdued by life, gets humbled by life, or even if it's not something outside of them, they're telling themselves messages. They're working on it. He's thinking about it in depth, and as a result of that, he humbles himself. That's called nitka. So you would think it's not really true. So ein ze klum, it's nothing. Lazeh ispalal of David. So David has a special tefillah for this Jew. Shagam leiv nishbar v'nitka idei pu'ula. Even a lev that becomes nishbar and nitka through some activity outside of it, or through some situation in life, loy sivza al kalpana. Don't shame this. Don't dismiss it. Shagam be'pu'ulas hanitka yehi gilui orein soif baruch hu. That even in this, the Ein Sof should be able to be manifested, because a broken heart really means an open heart. When something is cracked, so then it's not stubborn, so it's open. Even though you will say it's not the real condition of his heart, David HaMelech has a special tefillah. Allow the Ein Sof to be manifested in this person. So he's going to say, after this whole maimer, it's superficial, it's artificial. It's still not real. You're learning about it. You're thinking about it. It's nitke, it's not daka. On this, David HaMelech says Elikim loy sivza. So the Balatanya finishes, there's a parenthesis here, but after the parenthesis, there's another few lines. It says, V'zel l'she'eris nachalasi l'misha meisim es atzma k'shirayim. Now we'll understand the she'eris, somebody who makes himself like shirayim. What does it mean? The hainu was trying, he makes himself like shirayim. So we learn, it means you look at yourself as your leftovers. He says, it means exactly the opposite. The hainu, shemeisim atzmai, biyosim melubish beguf beishtalshlos hamadreges bebchines zmanu mokem, kishirayim shalamayla min ishtalshlos, hanimshach loy bebchines makef. Shirayim is like, you'll say, you have what fills the plate, and then you have the extra that doesn't go in. It's like shirayim, so it stays in the kitchen. He says the whole world, what's the whole world? The whole world is a structured world. Hishtalshalus, time, space. What's the shirayim? Shirayim is the leftover. It's that which transcends time and space. It's like the leftover. It doesn't get compressed within the structured plate of existence. That's what the shirayim is. He says, Misha Mesim Esatzmik shirayim is, you allow yourself that even when you're in the body, in Hishtalshalus, in time and space, to open yourself up to that which is beyond time, to that which is beyond space, to the shirayim that's beyond ishtalshalos, beyond structure. When the person really meditates in a deep way in the humbleness, how stuck he is in the natural perception of his soul. So this allows him in his perception to be distant from Ein Sof, and the light of it only comes out as makif, which means very superficial. This allows the person to be nitke, where the ego is splintered and crushed, and therefore the light could come in through the cracks. This allows him to become bottled to this makiv. Nachala means an inheritance, also means a river. It flows. So l'she'eris nachalosei, this shirayim, which is beyond the shtalshalus, becomes his inheritance. Nachal miloshin hamshacha, like a flowing river, dainu hamshacha va'arish me'orin soif baruchu, that there is a flow from Ein Sof to the person. V'Yakov chevel nachalosei, and Yaakov is the chevel, is called the rope of his nachala. And after the parentheses, he says, Achanachala v'amshachi ba b'bchinas makiv bilvad. But this nachala may only be makif, which means it encompasses him. V'zo nachla over al nafshenu. We say in Tehillim, a nachla goes over our soul. She'ena nichnasa b'pnimiyas halev liyas toicher ratzav aval Hashem b'klois hanefesh mamish me'um kedalib. It may not enter the depth of the heart to really fill his heart with klois hanefesh in the depth. But because he becomes as a result of this nitke, it distresses him, that his body and animal soul enclothe the soul. V'nasa shuffle be'enav, and he becomes humble. This creates the bittul, the openness to the makif of Ein Sof, and he allows himself to become part of the shirayim, which is beyond the shtalshalos. V'nimshachal of chesed elyon, so he can experience the divine grace. Liyos noisei avayin, to lift up the sin. V'oiver al pesha, and to step on the pesha. Shah chesed elyon mispashet b'makim namach yoser kanal. On the contrary, the lower he is, the more the chesed comes there, like the water. This allows him to lift his soul and connect it with Ein Sof, and go out of the prison of the body and animal soul, which continue to enclothe his divine soul. He shouldn't be entrenched in them, he should be free. Chesed is compared to water. Chazal say before you do the shchita, you irrigate an animal. Why? Because when you mashke behema before shchita, it removes the sirchus areya. So he says the mayim is the chesed. When you give it to the animal, this love, what happens? The sirchus of the reya could be removed. V'chein ha-chesed, the chesed of Hashem, goiver, it prevails. Umafrid ha-nefesh alakis, it removes the sirchus that keep the person addicted, keep the person entrenched in a lower space. It lets the divine soul be free. It separates it. Me'islapshusa v'искashrusa, from being entrenched, but meiser haguf, in the prison of the physical perception, libatul v'likol le'lav yizbarach, to be completely subsumed and consumed within the oneness of Hashem.
Have a great day.
Have a beautiful day. You bring the Lamaylam and Hazman into Zman. Yeah, he's very emphatic about that. To stay where I am is completely missing the point and using that as an excuse.
Yeah, forget about Elul's passion now, but Elul was out. Okay, a perfect tzaddik. So it brings you nowhere.
Right. But it's not depressing. It's
not depressing. It's like you face a reality. You see reality. Reality is it's somewhat harsh. That without that work, without that viewer, without that.
But I think it's the kindest thing to give people a taste of reality, even if it's harsh. It's much less kinder not to give them a taste of reality, to protect them from it.
It's much. You're saying.
Who would you want a relationship with?
Fall asleep is not an option.
Letting people sleep and be numb, I mean, it seems kind, but it's not very kind. You don't want a relationship with such a person. You want a relationship with somebody who exposes you to all truth of reality, even if it's harsh. But it's the ultimate kindness. Greatest chesed.
I feel that the Eibishter gives his son and wakes you up. So
The nitke sometimes doesn't come from within,
right.
comes from without. Or maybe because I work on myself. It's Yegiya, his beinana, so it's not daka, it's nitke.
It's Nijifa, and then he's saying that
He's almost like passive.
and that's the tefillah.
So he says that even that elikim loy sivza, that Ein Sof should be able to be nizgala in him. Yeah. Fila er. L'she'eris nachalasa. Yeah.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.